Hey everyone! Today we're diving into a really powerful story called The Silent Roots of Hope. It's all about finding courage and strength during one of the toughest times in American history.
Right from the start, this line just sets the scene, doesn't it? I mean, imagine living in a world where you have to weigh every single word, where being quiet isn't just about peace, it's about survival. This one sentence tells you everything you need to know about the danger just hanging in the air.
And the person who's going to guide us through this world is a young boy named Elijah. We see everything through his eyes, which means we get to feel what he feels and find hope right there alongside him.
So first up, let's really get a feel for the world Elijah lives in. It's a place built on really strict rules, constant watch, and, more than anything else, silence.
Okay, this slide is really key. It breaks down the main struggle of the whole story. On one side, you've got everything the overseers could control, where people worked, what they said, how they moved. But then look at the other side. That's what they could never, ever touch. What people thought, what they remembered, and the hope they kept alive in their hearts. That's where the real power is in this story. So you see, for Elijah and everyone else, silence wasn't about being shy or not having anything to say. Not at all. It was a strategy. It was a shield they had to use every single day to stay safe. It was their way of protecting themselves and their community when any word could be twisted into a reason for punishment.
All right, now the story takes us out into the cotton fields, which is where Elijah spends his days. And life out there, well, it has its own set of unspoken rules that everybody knows you have to follow if you want to make it through the day.
Wow. Just look at that number for a second. 7. The story tells us the kids as young as 7 years old were out there, working right alongside the adults. It's just a heartbreaking reminder of how hard this life was for every single person, no matter how old they were.
So here's the deal. Survival came down to following these rules that no one ever wrote down. First, you had to move fast, because any slowness would get you in trouble. Second, you had to stay quiet. Asking questions could be seen as a challenge. And third, and this one is so important, you had to help your neighbor. If you saw someone falling behind, you'd help them out quietly, without anyone noticing. It was this secret, silent form of teamwork.
And this moment here with Elijah's friend Thomas, it just says it all. He says wrapping his sore hands helps, but the look on his face tells the real story. It shows you the pain they were in, but also how they found these small ways to keep going and look out for each other.
But here's the thing. Even though their bodies were controlled, their minds were a whole different story. This next part shows us how they resisted in ways you couldn't see, with ideas, memories, and stories.
Think about these things. Reading, writing, choice, freedom. To us, they feel so normal, right? But in Elijah's world, these were forbidden. They were dangerous ideas. Just thinking about being free was an act of rebellion happening inside his own head.
This is how their culture and their history survived. Since books were forbidden, stories became everything. At night, Elijah's mother would tell him these tales that had been passed down for generations, stories that had traveled all the way across oceans. It was like a secret school, right there in the quiet of their cabin.
And this is a huge light bulb moment for Elijah. He figures out that true knowledge, the kind that makes you strong and keeps your history alive, doesn't have to be written down in a book. It can live inside you, in your memories, and in the stories you share with others.
So, as Elijah's long, hard day finally comes to an end, the story brings us to its most important theme of all, how hope can actually survive and even grow in the darkest places imaginable.
As Elijah watches the fireflies, he sees this beautiful symbol for hope. Right? Even when everything around him is completely dark, these tiny little sparks are still there, flickering. There are these little moments of light and freedom that remind him that beauty still exists in the world.
And you know, just like the stories, the songs they sang had hidden layers too. To an outsider, the song Elijah's mother hums would just sound like a nice little tune. But to those who knew the code, it was so much more. It was a map, a message, a secret guide to freedom, hidden right there in the music.
This line, this is the heart of the entire story, isn't it? It's the central message. No matter what happened to them physically, there was one place they could always be free. And that was inside their own minds. That was something no one could ever take from them. And that's the final, powerful idea the story leaves us with. It's like a tiny seed pushing its way up through hard, rocky ground. Hope wasn't just some dream. It was real, it was alive, and it was quietly growing in the hearts of people like Elijah and his mother.
So, the story ends by leaving us with this really big question.
After spending time in Elijah's world, where even the idea of freedom was dangerous, it really makes you stop and think, what does it actually mean to be truly free? It's definitely something to reflect on. Thanks for joining me for this one.